murders of innocent women, children, babies, infants in their cribs who were uh, savagely murdered by Hamas terrorists, the devastation and the pain is just unimaginable.
Mm. And so this weekend, the news that they had been released, how did you find out?
We were notified that Judith and Natalie were released, and that news was so uplifting, really just overwhelming. It's the kind of news that we're holding our breath for the last 2 weeks. I heard the news that Judith and Natalie Raanan were taken hostage to Gaza. We were devastated. Our community was devastated. These are people who are to us are like family, close friends. Judith comes every Sabbath to spend the Sabbath prayers and services and lunch with us and with our community and with our family. And we were beyond pained to hear this news. And truthfully, the pain is for all the 200 plus hostages and for the devastation and the murders of innocent women, children, babies, infants in their cribs who were uh, savagely murdered by Hamas terrorists. The devastation and the pain is just unimaginable.
Mm. And so this weekend, the news that they had been released, how did you find out?
We were notified that Judith and Natalie were released, and that news was so uplifting, really just overwhelming. It's the kind of news that we're holding our breath for the last 2 weeks. Everyone was so excited. The phone didn't stop ringing from friends and family and community members. People coming over, so excited and overjoyed with this incredible miracle, I would call it. Our hearts are so filled with joy and gratitude to the Almighty God for this great, incredible news and miracle. And at the same time, like you mentioned at the beginning, we are still deeply pained and concerned and worried and praying for each and every one of those 200 plus hostages that are still in the hands of Hamas terrorists, and praying for the families of those whose loved ones were murdered by the hands of these vicious terrorists.
Mm.
So this is not over.
Indeed. Just on Judith and Natalie, when have you been able to speak to them? When was the last time you spoke to them?
We just finished the Sabbath here in Chicago, and just coming out of the Sabbath, we don't use the phones, we don't use the internet, everything was shut off. So, and then now it's nighttime in Israel. We have not yet been able to speak to them, but I really am excited and looking forward to talk to them as soon as it's morning by them. Probably be staying up until I have that opportunity.
Amazing. What are they like as people? How do you kind of connect with them? How do they connect with you? How do they deal with you when you're living alongside them in your community? What are they like?
Judith is the most kind, cheering, giving, generous person. She would always come by bringing different things for the community, prayer books, Bibles, uh, gifts, wine, scotch, you name it. And then on a personal level, always bringing gifts for the children. She hand knitted a, a, a blanket for my newborn baby who was just turned 1 year old. These are, Judith is an artist. Natalie is an artist, also really kind and generous and friendly teenager. Natalie, she just graduated from Deerfield High School here in Illinois. These are really special people. These are people who touch the souls of so many. Their capture, their when we got the news that they were taken hostage, everyone was devastated. And likewise, the news that they were released, the first hostages to be released, is an overwhelming blessing. We are so happy and overjoyed. Like I said, at the same time, still concerned and pained for the other hostages, and we just keep on praying. We prayed. We rallied everyone to pray for them. We rallied everyone to do a special good deed for them, to do what we call in Hebrew a mitzvah, a good deed, and because we know that the power of goodness, the power of light, the power of kindness has an infinite power to overwhelm and to prevail over the darkness and hatred and evil of the world. And we are dealing with a vicious evil, a people that, a group that has murdered in such a vicious way, children, babies, women. It's unimaginable the kind of terror that they inflicted, and that's what we're facing. They need to be eradicated. But our job is to bring more goodness and light to the world. I'm not fighting on the front lines, although I have many friends that are. But here in Chicago, and those of you who are listening in London, you can do a mitzvah, you can do a good deed, you can bring light and goodness to the world. You can make a prayer no matter what faith you're from. You can, if you're Jewish, you can, Jewish male, put on the tefillin. If you're a Jewish woman, make the commitment to light the Shabbat candles this coming Friday evening. Everyone can do something special. Put up a mezuzah, which brings special light and security to the home and to your surroundings. These are things that everyone can do. These are things that all the listeners need to know, that we are able to overpower and prevail against the darkness with our goodness that we continue to light and ignite and shine.
Rabbi Hecht, we love that message. Is wonderful to hear. You know, it's so uplifting. It is so full of encouragement. But that is coming from you in the face of such difficulty for people in Israel, in Gaza, across that region. I noted that the use of the word eradicate from you a moment ago, that we need to eradicate them. I just wonder how much of a dilemma this situation plays on your mind when you have such a message of kindness and hope, but also such a message of angst and difficulty in the face of terrorism.
The Jewish people have seen the worst horrors and crimes against humanity many times before. The Holocaust is still in, there are still people alive who are survivors of the Holocaust. So this is not the first time, although this is the worst crime against humanity and against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And of course, the pain is unimaginable. But just like we've gotten through and persevered beyond the previous horrors, beyond the worst that we've seen, we will persevere this time as well. There's no question, I have no doubt in my mind that we will win, because goodness will prevail over this evil. And the light that we keep on shining, that you mentioned, you so much appreciate that message. Everyone, bring on that light, because light will prevail. We will win this war against the evil and the darkness.
And it has to be through war, do you think? Is that your anticipation? I mean, you mentioned having friends on the front line.
I'm not a military strategist or analyst. That's not my position. That's not what I do. I'm a rabbi. If war is needed, then that has to be done. Sometimes that's the call of the hour. Of course, we never want war, but sometimes you need to go that route. If Israel determines that they need to go for a ground offensive, I give them my full support. I stand with Israel, and I believe and hope that every person with moral compass, every person who cares about humanity and civilization will and should stand with Israel, and stand proudly and openly and in front of the world, stand with Israel. In terms of, do I think there needs to be a war? My hopes and prayers is that we should be able to overcome evil without any further suffering. We were promised by our prophets that there will come an era of peace, an era of an end to human suffering, an end to pain, an end to hunger, an end to war. This is the messianic era that Jews have been praying for 2,000 plus years. We still continue to pray for that. And maybe we're at the brink of that moment where there will be an end to all of this without the need for war. But again, we stand proud and strong and tall with Israel.
Yeah, it's amazing to listen to you, Rabbi. I note as well then that you're preparing even now to speak to Judith and Natalie Raanan. What do you think you will say to them? What do you want to say to them when you speak to them, perhaps in the next couple of hours?
I want to say to them that we are overjoyed and beyond words that they have been freed, and we just cannot wait to be able to welcome them back into our home and to see them in good health, in the presence of our community, and together with our family again.
Mm. What will that welcome home be like? Will there be great celebration?
Oh my gosh, we will be celebrating. There's no doubt. We're going to throw the greatest party that anyone has ever seen. We're really hoping for that soon.